Welcome to the Yadea Elite Prime review, guys. There's a lot of features I like, a lot of features I don't like. Let's talk about this scooter. First off, I'll show you, compared to the other scooters in my garage, it's quite tall. The stem, the handlebar height is tall, and it gives this scooter a little bit of a weird feeling ride to me, where it's not quite as stable as you want. It's a little bit wobbly. For now, I want you to know this thing's topping out at 30 kilometers an hour. If you guys don't know, it's like, what, 18 miles an hour? It's not a fast scooter. It is dual motor, but it is not powerful. And in fact, it feels like a single motor scooter. It's kind of disappointing. I wish the scooter had a lot more to it. It's a crowd-funded scooter still. It is not a full production scooter. And you have to know that going in, there is a bit of a risk buying this. But it's half off of its full retail price. Maybe it's still a good deal, even at 800 bucks or whatever. We'll take a look here and see. It's got enough to make it through intersections and stuff, but it just, to me, seems like it needs more top end. For something that is dual motor and it's pretty heavy, it should be going a bit faster than this 20 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour. But it's a bit disappointing to me there that you're gonna make a dual motor scooter like this and then make it still very slow. Obviously, that's one of my complaints about this scooter, is how slow it is, how weird the ride is, just because the geometry is a little bit weird. I feel like one thing you notice right away on this scooter is these handlebars that are like kind of V-shaped, right? And it's not something you see on any other scooter. And I think they're trying to make it more ergonomic, but it just does not feel right to me. Something you obviously cannot change at all on this scooter. You're pretty much stuck with that angle of handlebars. It really is hard to recommend this scooter when this is the only sort of setup you can have with it. You can't swap these handlebars for anything else, right? You can't adjust the angle or anything, and it sort of limits this scooter to a very specific sort of, I think, taller, lankier individual maybe than me. I'm very short, I'm 5'5", and to me that makes this scooter feel a little bit big. Maybe that's the problem with me. Could be a personal preference thing here, that the scooter's just built for a bigger person and it feels weird when you're short. I don't know. I think one of the few things this scooter has going for it is the braking. Very, very strong braking on it. And I think that comes from having two motors, dual engine braking, right, plus dual drum brakes. So this does work into being a pretty powerfully braking scooter. Braking on a dime. Here's hill test on the Yadea. And for dual motor, it's just not there. You see, we're down to 20 kilometers an hour. That's about 12 miles an hour. Very, very slow uphill for something that should be a lot faster. Like, the only point of adding more weight and to get dual motors is to add more torque, and this doesn't have it. This scooter has some potential. I don't know, maybe they need a bit higher voltage battery or a bit higher amp controllers, but at this point there's just not enough power going to these motors to even warrant calling this a dual motor scooter, because it rides like a single motor scooter. It rides exactly like a single motor scooter. This is what I mean, like, a dual motor scooter can climb this small incline a lot easier. Pull over up here in a sec and talk about the rest of the scooter. I'm not going to take forever on it because I do think it needs some improvements, but it is, like I say, a newer brand that is still on crowdfunding, so that's kind of to be expected. Welcome to the dual motor Yadea Elite Prime. This type of SUV scooter, and what I mean by SUV is it's dual motor, dual suspension, trying to make a scooter that can handle a lot more conditions, a lot rougher roads. This scooter is pretty capable, but it's limited by its top speed. Clearly, on the way over here, you notice that it's only 15, 18 miles an hour. For me personally, that's just not fast enough. I think that a scooter these days needs to be at least 20 to 25 miles an hour, especially in this price range, coming out at a retail price of around $1,500. Obviously, on the crowdfunding, you can get this for half the price, but I don't know if it's worth the full full retail. You see it has a pretty basic screen. We're looking at basically a 9-bot or any other sort of standard brand, name brand. Looks about like this. Very similar screen. These handlebars that I already mentioned that are V-shaped, it gives the scooter a pretty weird feeling because your arms have to be kind of bent like this. It's kind of weird from that. That seems like a fatal flaw to me. You're stuck with this sort of handlebar position that's weird. And let's talk about the things I do like about the scooter. Obviously, the braking. Really like the braking on this. The dual drum brakes with the dual e-braking. It's strong braking. I'm very happy with the braking. They've made a pretty nice integrated brake with blinker setup here, right? When you look at this is not bad. This is all pretty decent quality. And when you hit the button, right, it's going to blink. It's going to make an indicator on the screen and make a noise. As well as on the back, oh, it turns off by itself. That's good. And we'll hit the button again. It's pretty visible. Compared to a lot of blinkers, right? That's pretty good. You can see it from the side and the back. There's any front blinker, and there's not. So that's what I mean. There's still like half of the blinkers. Obviously need to put front blinkers need to be on here to be viable. You can't just only have rear blinkers. So there's just a lot of stuff like that on the scooter that I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It just needs a version 2 that's a little bit more well designed. It needs some improvement, guys. There's no other way around saying this, that it needs some improvement to be competitive with the rest of the scooters on the market. Alright, let's try out the SUV scooter. Yadea Elite Prime. This does not have off-road tires, so it's slightly sketchy. You gotta watch out for people coming the other way. Two-way trail. Pretty darn smooth. Okay. The Yadea might redeem itself here as a fun little off-roader. Extremely smooth in the corners. Actually pretty nice handling. Okay, we might have found this scooter's sweet spot here. It's just on this type of trail. Which is funny because we don't have off-road tires. But it's got enough torque on there. But it's not overpowering, which is a lot of times the problem on these trails with scooters is if you bring a huge scooter, it's just too much power on the top end, right? And too much speed. This is smooth. The suspension's eating up all the bumps. Man, I really want to put some off-road tires on this now. See how it is with some proper tires. Okay, scooter redeems itself. As long as I don't get a flat tire in this, we'll see. This is fun. Woo! The SUV scooter. Kind of pump the scooter while you pump the throttle. Pretty darn good traction. That's a workout. This is actually one of the faster scooters through this section. Rides really well. Super quiet. Tires just stick to the trail. Yeah. That's what's up. Alright, the SUV scooter coming in hot, redeems itself on a little trail. Alright, so we found what this is really for. It's for that guy who lives in the city but also has little mountain bike trails, and you want to do both. You want to ride both. The scooter's capable enough to handle that.